Dealing with the always right personality, reclaiming your voice around people who won't hear you. It's not a conversation, it's a performance. You try to express yourself calmly, gently, honestly, but somehow you're always wrong. You misunderstood, you overreacted, you just don't get it. You're not being heard, you're being corrected, and it's exhausting. Being in a relationship, whether romantic, family, friendship, or work, with someone who always has to be right can chip away at your self trust. Because it's not just about winning an argument, it's about control. And if you're not careful, you'll start to shrink just to avoid the mental tug of war. This article is for the moments when you feel like you're in a debate you never signed up for and just want peace instead of a point proven. Why some people can't let themselves be wrong. People who always have to be right often fear what being wrong represents more than what it actually is. Being wrong to them means losing respect, feeling stupid, losing control, feeling shame, admitting vulnerability. So instead of seeing disagreement as connection or curiosity, they see it as a threat. Their ego takes over, and that need to be right becomes armor. But here's the thing, their need to be right doesn't mean you're wrong. And their inability to hear you is not proof that your voice isn't valid. The subtle damage it does to you. Being around someone like this consistently can start to wear on your nervous system. You might find yourself avoiding certain topics altogether, silencing your needs to keep the peace, over explaining just to feel understood, questioning your memory or instincts, feeling small after every interaction. Over time, it's just not a bad conversation. It becomes a pattern of emotional erosion. This isn't about a one time disagreement. It's about the repeated invalidation of your perspective, often disguised as logic, reason, or just being honest. How to protect yourself without escalating. You don't always have the luxury of cutting this person out of your life. So instead, you create internal boundaries that keep you safe, calm, and anchored in truth. Stop arguing to convince. It's tempting to prove your point, but with someone who refuses to be wrong, your words aren't tools, they're targets. Try this instead. I hear that's how you see it. I don't see it the same way, and that's okay. Or even, we don't have to agree for me to know how I feel. Refusing to engage in the tug of war is how you protect your peace. Ground yourself in your own reality. When someone constantly dismisses or challenges your version of events, it's easy to start doubting yourself. Use quiet self-validation. That did happen the way I remember it. My feelings about this are real, even if they won't acknowledge them. I don't need their argument to trust my truth. This may seem small, but it's powerful. It keeps your sense of self from dissolving under pressure. Know when to exit the conversation. You don't have to stay in every debate just because they won't let it go. A simple, this isn't helpful right now, I'm stepping away, is enough. Don't wait for them to respect your limits. You enforce them. Watch for the repetition loop. The always right personality will often circle back later, reframing the conversation, twisting your words, or reasserting their version of reality. Be ready for it. You can say, we've already talked about this. I'm not revisiting it again. Then change the subject or walk away. Your energy is not infinite. Spend it wisely. When you start to feel like you're the problem, this dynamic can be sneaky. You might start thinking, maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I'm just bad at communicating. I must not be explaining it right. But that's what emotional invalidation does. It reverses the discomfort so you can take it on instead. You start tiptoeing through conversations, editing your words mid sentence, trying to guess what won't cause a reaction. That's not communication, that's survival. Final thoughts. You're allowed to be heard, even if they refuse to listen. Here's the truth: you don't have to win with them. You just have to stop losing yourself around them. You're allowed to speak calmly and walk away when it's not safe to stay in the conversation. You're allowed to have your own thoughts, feelings, and perspectives, even if they don't like them. And you're allowed to stop trying to be good enough to convince someone who doesn't want to understand. Not all validation comes from being agreed with. Sometimes it comes from looking in the mirror and saying, I trust me. And that is more powerful than being right. If this reflection brought you a moment of peace or insight, please consider liking the video and subscribing to Purely Voiced. Your support helps this space grow and reach more hearts that need it.